It's a good AGam in Kansas morning. Good morning. Let's take a look and see what's coming up today. First, see why feeding cattle indoors is becoming a popular and prudent business decision. Next, Crystal Cowan with the Bureau of Land Management talks about wild horses and burro adoptions. Then Ignacio Ciampitti updates us on the status of corn and soybeans in Kansas. We'll end with Kansas cattle feeder Sam Hands, who reminds beef producers about the importance of always aiming for improvement in a competitive market. Stay with us. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Feeding cattle indoors is becoming a very popular and prudent business decision, and here's why. Feeding cattle indoors is a way that producers can really be proactive in assuring the sustainability of animal agriculture in America. Feeding cattle indoors for the producers who we work with is both environmentally sustainable, good for the environment, financially sustainable, profitable for the consumer, and socially sustainable because we all care where our food comes from. You're looking at a monoslope beef barn, a Summit Livestock Facilities monoslope beef barn. It's approximately 267 feet long and about 67 feet wide, and it's designed and permitted for around 480 steers.
We are in eastern Clinton County, next to the river. I'm standing with my wife Melissa, who helps with the operation. We took the operation over in '02 after my dad passed away. There was a 200 head outside lot here with two buildings, load out facility that we tore down. I mean, your efficiency is so much better in this barn. You're not going to get it on every group. I mean, they're not all going to do great in here, but for the most part, your efficiency is there. Your per pound a day gain is so much easier to put on, I'd say, than outside because you don't have the fluctuation in the heat. You know, in the winter they get more sun coming in from the south, keeps the cattle more comfortable, and having the north end open gives you more airflow in the summer.
The pit is 10 feet deep. It's covered with cement slats, and over the top of that is Easy Fix rubber mats. Easy Fix rubber mats provide extremely good cattle comfort, so the cattle get traction. They're comfortable, and they acclimate very quickly to being in this facility.
Yeah, in the confinement building with the rubber mats being down on top of the slats, there is no cleaning. The cattle work the manure through. The rubber has a slatted hole that fits the slat, so they work it right down into the pit. That's why we chose this over a deep bedded, because you got to make so much more bedding and it's a lot more manpower to do all that. I've got pump outs on the outside of the pits, one on each end, two in the middle, and we put pumps down in, stir them for about 3 hours, and then we apply it to the ground. Manure has given us savings on chemicals, fertilizer. We've got it figured so much per head to make it pay for. It's coming out between that probably $1,500, $1,600 a head space, more than I wanted to spend, but with what we had to do. But I'm hoping to gain that back in efficiencies and the manure management.
Cattle feeding is growing as we watch the herds transcend out of the southwest United States because of the drought that's been going on, and out of California. We're seeing more and more herd expansion in areas like Iowa. But we're also seeing it a little bit in South Dakota and Nebraska and Missouri and states like Indiana and Illinois. And we're doing business now in Missouri and Kentucky and maybe a little bit in Tennessee as well. So we're seeing just a renewed interest in animal agriculture and especially feeding cattle indoors.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop liquid crop nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
My name is Crystal Cowan. I work with the Bureau of Land Management. We're at a wild horse and burro adoption right now in Tonganoxie, Kansas. The reason we have these adoptions with these wild horses is they roam on our public lands out west, and there's just too many of them for the land to support. So we gather off a certain number each year and offer them up to the public for adoption. If we didn't do anything about the numbers, they would double in numbers every 4 years. So we do give contraceptives, and then we do gathers as well. So we encourage the public to come out and adopt these horses and take them home and gentle them and train them and make them into whatever they want to be. If it's a companion animal or a donkey or a burro for their cattle or livestock, or train the animal for endurance riding or trail riding. Or another thing folks do with them is ranch work. They make really good ranch horses. We've got some ranchers that adopt these, and they come and pick out their good ranch horse, and they use them for ranch work for a few years, and then by that time they've received title and they're no longer property of the federal government, and they sell them and get a new one and start that one. We cover Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, and New Mexico, and we have an adoption event somewhere throughout our 4-state area once a month. Another thing that we help out with are the Extreme Mustang Makeover events. We usually have the pickups in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma for our events that are held in Fort Worth. This year it was in Decatur, Texas. We also ship animals to other pickup locations or help out with other Extreme Mustang Makeover events, and it's really neat to see what the trainers can do with those horses in just 120 days. My personal favorite is the youth, especially whenever the youth have a summer to work with the horse, and just see that bond between the youth and the yearling or the young horse is really remarkable. So whenever they're gathered out west, we prep them. So we first take them to a facility, we give them vaccinations, we pull blood for Coggins, we worm them, and then we brand them. You can see the freeze mark on the left side of their neck. It's angle symbols. We can decode it and read it. And it's kind of like that horse's social security number in a way. The first 2 symbols are the year of birth, and then the facility that prepped it, and then the last 4. So that makes the brand you see on the left side of their necks. So in Kansas we have a couple of events coming up, and then one all year round. So we have a Wild Horse and Burro Expo and Show. This will be our 22nd one to have, and it's going to be in Salina, Kansas this year. They're at the Saline County Fairgrounds, October 14th and 15th, and we'll have a show, a trainer doing gymling demonstrations, games on horseback on Friday night, a lot of prizes for the adopters, and it's free for any freeze-branded horse. So it will be a lot of fun. If folks want to adopt any other time of the year, Hutchinson Correctional Facility is a short-term corral, and they keep around 350 wild horses there throughout the year. Folks can make an appointment and call and go in and Monday through Friday and adopt. They can also get on the waiting list to adopt a trained horse for the same $125 adoption fee. The requirements to adopt: you must be at least 18 years of age and have no prior convictions of animal abuse, and then have a proper corral to put the animal in. These horses are wild, so the minimum requirement for an adult horse is 6-foot tall fences with access to shelter and food and water, with a minimum of 20 by 20, like 400 square feet. So that's not very big, and once that animal is gentled and the adopter can provide medical care and lead the animal, then they can put them in whatever pasture they feel comfortable. It's 5 foot for yearlings and then 4.5 for burros. All of the animals up for adoption have negative Coggins and are all updated on all vaccination and dewormings. When the adopter adopts, they'll receive a health sheet, and it shows where the animal's from, if it was gelded, what date, if it needs gelding, and then vaccination dewormings on the bottom, and then a negative Coggins is stapled to the back. They receive an application for title 12 months later. They will then have a farrier, trainer, veterinarian, someone knowledgeable about horses sign off on it saying they've seen the animal in good care, and then mail it in to us, and we'll mail them a title. And that means that the animal is considered private property. It'll have the adopter's information as well as the horse's information. And then they've completed their adoption requirements.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Bill Rischel here in North Platte told me about Kansas Regenerative Medicine, and after talking to Dr. Pope, we did a lot of reading and researching, looking on the internet about it. I guess the thing that impressed me is that he told me, he said, if we don't think it's going to help you, we're not going to do it. I'm a former athlete, played college basketball, had some severe trauma on the right ankle. This brace is what I had to wear all the time. Now I don't wear this during the day. That's a real improvement for me. Encourage anybody that's interested to go down and do a consultation with them.
This segment brought to you by SureCrop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
My name is Dr. Ignacio Ciampitti. I'm associate professor. I'm an extension specialist, cropping systems, corn specialist. And today I would like to take just a few minutes of your day to talk about corn production problems and other things that you might be looking on your corn stands. So let's start for a quick update on the planting. So when you're looking at planting time, corn is it's well done for the state of Kansas. Planting process was quite complex this year. I mean, when you're looking about mid-April until mid-May, and even if we go to late May, our window for planting was really small. We have weeks with only few days of planting. So we have many challenges on trying to plant that corn. Early season corn was really planted into wet soils, and also, exacerbated to that is that we have really more precipitations coming right after. So if you really take a look to some of the stands, you will see a couple different issues. First ones are plants with many gaps. So you see a stand that we have, for example, 5 or 6 plants, and then we have a big gap, one plant alone, and then we have another set of plants. That was very common, and I have seen that situation in many fields. One of the main issues when you're looking at those stands is basically any plant that we are missing in between is missing yield potential. Another factor is the really differences in development and growth. Okay, and let me explain briefly. When we are talking about development, we are emphasizing the difference in the number of leaves. You will see situations that we have some corn that is reaching 4 leaves at this point, and some of the corn might be reaching 5 leaves. And then there are some of the corn, small ones, that they are only just on 3 leaves. So sometimes we are seeing situations of 2 or 3 leaves difference in development. Okay, that's one of the main characterizations. The second one is growth. And the growth is just being dominated by the size of the plants. You will see when you're looking at these stands, some plants they have probably twice the height as compared with another plants that they are quite small, and they were coming 2 to 3 weeks after the initial set of emergence. Those plants, they tend to become plants that they are not adding to the canopy, but they are sometimes even competing to corn. To all the plants that were coming early. And why is that? Most of the times those plants that were coming early, they will be established, they will keep growing, and they will reach flowering before the late emerging plants. So in many places we will need to really having a close look to the canopy and make sure that we take a look to the nitrogen needs for corn, because we have a lot of rain, so timely for nitrogen application and really synchronizing the demand of the plant with the offer from the soil or the one that is coming from the fertilizer will be really critical this year to make sure that we are not losing yield. Few other things that we have seen in many sections of the state, we have seen some issues of hail, some hailstorm in many places in South Central, in Northeast, and we also have seen situations of green snap. Okay, so those are kind of 2 different problems. Situations that they are hail connected and they are only affecting the upper leaves when the corn is just before the B5 or 5 leaf stage, probably not affected that much yield potential. Most of the times farmers, we need to wait at least a couple of days to go out and do evaluations of green snap, because the question there will be to make a decision if the plant will make it or not. So the stems are usually bended, and I have been seeing a lot of corn when you are going in the road, that is leaning or bended. But the challenge is when the stems are broken, then we know for sure those plants will not recover. And the only way to identify those situations is going after a couple days, a storm event or hail event, and then looking at plants and trying to identify spots in the field to quantify what is the number of missing plants.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This is Eric Stonestreet, and as many of you know, I love my home state of Kansas. In March, Kansas ranchers lost homes, equipment, and thousands of cattle from the largest wildfires in the state's history. Imagine losing all you have in a fire. Not just your house, but your livelihood. Ranchers are beginning to rebuild, but it will take years and tens of millions of dollars to build back herds, fences, and other infrastructure. Today, I'm asking you to help. Donate what you can and show your support to the ranchers of Kansas. Simply go to kansasfires.com. Your donation is tax deductible and will go to those who need it the most.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome folks, we are here at the Agronomy North Farm, Kansas State University. It is a beautiful day and we will be talking about soybean production, planting update, and some early season problems. When we are looking at planting time, May was very challenging for us in terms of precipitation conditions, wet soils. We have compaction problems. So here is, for example, one issue of potential compaction problems. Roots tend to be more pressed, and then when you're looking at the roots on the lower section of the plants, you see that they are not going down as they're supposed to be, but then the root was facing a compaction issue in the soil, so those roots are going horizontally and tend to be compacted. So if folks are wondering what might be the problem with this, one potential problem on this situation is a couple things. One is lack of really proper root development. And then you are seeing that these situations, root tend to thick. Then we are basically trying to invest more resources to push, to go down. And then the other consequence that you can get to see here is a very lack of nodules. So remember that we talk about nodulation is a very important process for nitrogen fixation for soybeans. So when you're looking about this root, has almost a few nodules, almost none. And let's look for another situation that it will be with less root compaction. Here is an example. So in this case, you can get to see a plant that has a little bit less root compaction, it has more root hairs, and it has more different type of roots. You have more lateral roots. And the second point also is, if you look at around the plant, and I will slowly turn it around, you will see that we are counting at least probably close to 8 to 10 different nodules. Importantly, these nodules are attached to the main root stem, so those are really critical to provide nitrogen fixation to the plant. This plant with nodules will be in much better shape, taking up nutrients and nitrogen coming from fixation, while this one will be suffering by lack of presence of that nodulation, and it will probably produce some kind of nitrogen deficiencies later in the season. Except for a few areas in the state, We're almost getting very close to finish all the soybean planting. When you're looking at the stage of the crop, looking at many different situations across the state, we have a very good crop. Things that they were planting a little bit later. I mean, things that they were planting by the end of May. When you're looking at crop that was planted a little bit earlier than that, I mean, we have situations of soybeans planted late April or even, mid-May. Those soybeans are the ones that we are seeing a little bit more of challenging situations, and between those challenging situations, we can emphasize root compaction problems. We have seen lack of uniformity in many cases since we have planting in wet conditions, and those plants were delaying the emergence. So we have situations of, poor root development, in many cases, compaction problems. Things that just to, look around when you're looking at soybean stands at this time of the season is looking specifically at weed control. As you see, in many situations, looking at soybeans that we have planted early here, still they are not closing the canopy. Many situations around here, we are still seeing 2, 3 trifoliates, 4 trifoliates in the really best conditions. Size of plants that they are still small for the time of the year. One main recommendation for farmers is, start going out, scouting fields.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We are having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
If you're going to be on the front line, you'd better be good. That's what Sam Hans says about Angus cattle and their keepers.
The consumer is the one that says yay or nay as to our product. Our product will never be produced as efficiently as the pork and poultry, but it is the most highly sought after, most flavorful protein package out there, and we want to make sure it stays at the forefront of the consumer at the meat counter.
To do that, Hans says, think lobster, as in lobster tail.
If you happen to be looking for a fish product for a dinner tonight or a party for the weekend, yeah, we think about lobster tail because that is the ultimate goal. But at the same time, we want to make sure when they're looking at, say, other red meats or red meat proteins, that there's no question in their mind they're going to go for a beef cut that'll add that extra value and flavor to their meal and have a successful, very well enjoyed evening.
It's all about differentiated quality, making decisions about cattle to get the best results and the most efficient returns.
We want to make sure that we're going to realize all the potential market that there is there. We're shooting for all the prime we can get. We certainly want to make certified Angus beef, and we've been fortunate to make those adjustment changes in our breeding program.
Thanks to genetics and grid marketing that lifted cattle above load lot anonymity, the lobster tail connection is within reach for beef as it reaches beyond choice.
But now where the benchmark is at 70%, the challenge is even tougher. But for those that are using good genetics that not only have the performance capabilities, but also the carcass traits that are not only CAB, but maybe pushing higher in prime, to still realize the premiums that they're after.
Tools like genomic testing and predictive databases have advanced those goals for the good of everyone, from ranch to meat counter.
We've got to genetically make sure these Angus-influenced cattle work for the rancher back at the cow-calf level, but again, it's to make sure that our consumer, when they sit down to dine, whether it be at home or out on a picnic or in a restaurant, that they have the best eating experience that they can imagine.
Pounds might pay the bills, but it's quality that sets cattle apart. I'm Bob Cervera.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.